Hello and welcome to the 5-day Facebook Repivot Challenge. We are going to reset, we're going to renew, and we're going to revive. And I have the privilege and the honor of having my dear friend, Diane Cortes. She's an amazing lady. I am so grateful to have met her. I want to say about a year and a half to 2 years, I want to say on an average. But I want to just speak, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of what she has been able to accomplish. I love her bio because she put down, she is a Christian and Hispanic leader in the community in Tampa, Florida. And I want to say not just Tampa, because we think Tampa, the city. We're talking about Tampa Bay, and I think beyond that, okay, Miami, Orlando, and not just in Tampa, Puerto Rico as well. This is, she's a native Puerto Rican. She holds a bachelor's degree in business administration, majoring in marketing, and that's her forte. Ms. Cortes is the current president of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. It is the first Chamber of Commerce that I belong to, and I am honored to be part as a member. And so she has been doing an amazing job there. Right now, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has been 20 years of experience, and you have had 20 years of human resource in marketing with course knowledge in marketing, market penetration. She is the founder and president of the acumen strategist, and I love even that word. And so we'll talk about, how did you come up with that word? I know that word is so important. I tell people names are important, and the significance of it. And she has that marketing and staffing firm. Through the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Tampa Bay, successful designed and introduced 4 new programs: Empresario Emprendedor, Business Grants, Adelante Scholarship, Prestigio Hispano, which I've had the opportunity to be part of. It's been amazing. And the Praxis Business Development Assistant. So her passion is to really help entrepreneurs, business owners go and not just only launch, but to really prosper. She has helped me even in my marketing as well. And there's other things that is going in the future with Masterfully Crafted that we have spoken about. So these are different things that she has done. The introduction of digital marketing strategy, which is definitely something that is being used now. Social media development and redesign, a new website design, which I saw. I saw the website that you did for Ivelis, which is the aerospace training in Tampa, Florida. So I mean, this is just amazing things that she's been able to do. She has newsletter, both relationship with press and solidarize. I'm not even saying that correctly, but I do apologize for that. Relationship with local and international influencers. So it's her influence as a business woman leader. Just it goes on, and that's just. To be honest with you, I really think that this is just the beginning of, we think that we've done a lot in the past, but I think this is like the launching pad where, God wants to take you, honestly. Amen. So, without further ado, because this is not about, just me speaking, I want to hear you. And so take it away.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited of having this conversation. I know it's about making changes. It's about opportunities. It's about starting over again. It's about second chances. It's about pivot. You got to pivot in life, and no matter what you do, you got to be ready. So thank you for the invitation. I'm super excited to be here and to be able to provide a little bit of my experience and my company and everything that I'm doing for the community here and for everyone here in the Tampa Bay area. So thank you very much.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. So tell me, before we, because I know I gave her a couple of questions to answer, but how did you come up with the name Acumen Strategist?
Acumen is that you have to be certain. You got to be specific, and it's a target. And you need to have the specific acumen to make things happen. And then strategist, that is a position, by the way. So you have the target and then you have the strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So a strategist is the person that are at war, by the way. And if you look at it in the dictionary, the word strategist is a position within the army, the armed forces.
Okay.
The men and women that are strategists, they design how they're going to create their next move in combat.
Oh, wow.
And that's why I put together, if I can have that acumen on what I'm going to do, and if I can create that strategy, I become a strategist myself. Throughout many years, I'm always creating, and I am always creating a strategy to impact the market, to create a campaign, to even do sales. I used to work as an account manager for many years. And in order for me to get new clients, I got to create a strategy in order to know where I was going, a plan, and make sure that what I was doing was going to produce results. So all of that came in together, and it impacted me because everything came with a reading. I was reading here, reading there, and I'm like, acumen. Yeah, acumen, it's okay. It's good. Yeah, certain direct impact. That's great. But strategist, when I read the definition about strategist, I said, that's my company name. I pray about it. I have to say, I pray about it because I had other names. Acumen strategist has both components. And I say, you know what? Yeah, this is the name of my company. So that's how Acumen Strategist came to be.
You know, what's interesting and I love is that there's discipline. You have to have discipline. You have to have a goals, and you have to determine, okay, this is where I want to go. Now you got a plan. You have to have steps that needs to be done in order for you to achieve where you want to go.
Exactly.
And so those there are two powerful words that you've created, and boom, when you called it out, that's your baby. Well, you know, we talk about babies, our babies, you know, because you know it's alive. It is alive, and you have to take care of it, and especially in the foundation. So you establish a foundation. This is what I want to achieve. You know, the marketing, the staffing, and I know that you do that. Mm-hmm. And the great thing is that you've already established relationship. Now, when you first started Acumen Strategist, what has been the most challenging situation that you've confronted, and how have you been able to, you know, to face it, and what has been the results?
So Acumen Strategist is a staffing and marketing firm. As a staffing, we are a human resources full experience. So we not only recruit for other companies, we manage their employee handbook, their cultural fit. We do employee contracts. We do offer letters. We automate process, onboarding process, and such. It comes around that we created a different niche of what is out there that you want to do that is both your passion and that is not out there. There are plenty of marketing companies and there are plenty of staffing companies, but rarely will you find a staffing company and a marketing company coming together and create this amazing niche where we can digitalize documentation. If you don't want me to recruit for your company, I can create a job fair. I can market it. I can bring the people in. So the marketing part with the staffing part, it was a perfect combination.
So it's like a match,
match. That's how it came about. And I put my both passions in my career and my 25 plus years of experience within corporate America. And before I came to acumen strategist, I worked for a mom and pop type of business. So the challenge that I faced was that during the pandemic, I have to analyze if I really wanted to continue doing what I was doing, how rewarding was it, and the scenario that I was looking around my family, myself, and the work that I was doing for another company. So I pray about it, of course, and I will always say that because that's how I walk in my life. That's the way I walk. And I realized that I was not happy. I realized that I wanted more. I realized that I have so much to give. I had already started leading the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Tampa Bay. I was helping so many businesses and so many people, but I was not helping myself. I was not helping myself. So the challenge that I face is what happened to many people. And in my case, it was to present my resignation. And I took the step and launched myself. I did make a plan, though I did plan. But I just went to the boss and say, thank you. 2 weeks notice. If you need me more time, I'm here. But I made that decision and I was serious about it. That was a challenge. I've made other decisions in my life, but that's the most recent one that has been very dear to my heart because I left a season behind. Wow. And I started something new from ground up. And that for me was at the beginning, I had my moments where I said, oh my God, Lord. Sometimes I felt it like my stomach and I'm like, oh my God, I know you're in control. This is going to be fine. But things started happening and I started getting clients and referrals. And I noticed I created something important: staffing, marketing. When staffing was low, marketing was going up. So I pivot quickly. When marketing went down, staffing went up. And right now they're both balanced. And it's been amazing how I've seen my company. So my company style is ontology of business. It's an ontology of business where you have different products and services within the same company. So yes, that was my challenge. The challenge was saying, you know what, resigning to the position and taking my company and say, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. I can do this. I will do this. I know how to do it. I can do this.
You know, what's interesting that you say as you're speaking, you actually had to put a halt because you realized you were not happy. You were just going through the motions. And I think that's a lot of people, we go through the motions. And until you say, you know what, I'm not getting younger. It's just like, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Yes. And there has to be a change. And sometimes we're waiting, and I don't know if this has happened to you, but sometimes like, okay, we have this conversation. We look at ourselves in the mirror, and when we're talking to God too, it's just, okay, God, please, like, where is it? And we think it's external, but yet it's internal.
Absolutely.
And when you realize it's internal, it has to come to you, okay, what is it? And you reevaluate it. Yes. And once you reevaluate, it says, no, there's something better out there. And it's interesting because I met you while you were in the old state, in your old season. I call it the old season. In the old season, you were, and I know we've had a conversation, and you were saying, okay, no, there's something better. And I would listen. And now that you're in this new season, even though it's a little bit apprehensive, because it's a new thing. It's like every day you wake up, it says, okay, this is something new. And now you almost have more control over your destiny, because again, it's your efforts, I it's different than when it is your own business, than it is when you're working somebody else. And yes, I mean, you know, I tell you, I see, and there's more potential. There's more potential, and it's a knowing that. And again, the great thing, and you said it, that you just didn't resign. Okay, fine. I'm going to do this. You had a plan. You planned it. You were very methodical. Because you want to make sure the timing is important. I know we've talked about that. Why is it that, and those that are hearing, please, I'd like for you guys to share, but why is it that timing is so important?
Timing is important because, first of all, you need to understand in what season in your life you're at. If I'm still working in projects at home, my relationship with my husband, and men with their wives, what is the season in your life? Are you able to take a risk? Because what I did was a risk, but I calculated my risk. So I paid off my car, I paid off some debt. So that's when I say prepare myself. I was preparing myself financially. I had savings. I paid my debts. I only had like 3 debts that I'm finishing paying right now. My husband business and the company that he works for, it's booming. So I took a lot of factors into consideration. I didn't went blind. I know what I was doing.
Yes.
I didn't went blind. I planned. When I say I plan it first financially. This is real? Because getting names, designing colors, and doing this and doing that, that's the fun part. It's really preparing yourself and creating your business plan. Here, it's where I want to get started and how I want to get started. But here is where I want to be. And what are the steps to get me there? I'm not there yet. I'm still in the stage of the beginners part. I'm still trying to learn how to walk. I'm almost getting to be a toddler. Maybe I'm almost getting to be a toddler. I'm not a teenager, neither an adult business, but soon I will give my first step and I'm going to go to the toddler stage. So that's the type of planning that I'm talking about, is that you can have peace of mind that you have the finances. One of the common errors that are out there is that everybody wants to start a business because they know it all, because their product is the best in the world, is the best. Nobody has it. Nobody has it. Nobody has it. And I'm like, oh, I don't think so. Right. Tell me how prepared you are in your finances. What if something happened? And it did happen. The pandemic happened. What if a hurricane? What about if this happened? How will you survive? Do you have the means? No, but I'm going to make money really quick. Do you have any guarantee of that? So let's not dream about it when it comes to doing business. Make it happen. And by the way, that's the slogan. You made it real, we make it happen.
I love that slogan.
You made it real. You made real your choices and your business, but we make them happen.
That's fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. You present something else, and it brought to my attention, or brought to memory, you have to have a parachute plan. Parachute.
Yeah.
And I heard that several years ago, and you have to have, in other words, there's going to be situations that you never would expect.
Exactly.
There's losses, there's tragedy, there's accidents there. I mean, even several years ago, if someone would have mentioned that we were going to go through a pandemic, we would never have. We would say, no, this only in science fiction movies would that happen.
So true.
But we went through it. We've gone through it, and who's to know the future? So it's definitely having plan A, B, C, and whatnot and not going blind. It's being strategic. It's being visionary. I'm all about the vision. So, of course, when we say vision, there's some people that can see far away beautifully, but they can't see close up. And there's some people that can see close up, but they can't see far away. So, either one is not a good thing.
No,
you still need glasses in order for you to be able to see 20/20. And so it's important to really have someone who has experience and say, no, I'm going to be there. I'm going to navigate with you. I'm going to go step by step. Okay, these are the things we in this journey together.
Yes.
And we want you to be successful because if you succeed, we succeed as well. Yes. And I know that's your heart. It's to see people succeed and not get stuck.
Absolutely.
Now, have you worked with someone who has gotten stuck and you've been able to help them, and how have you been able to help them get unstuck?
So through the Hispanic Chamber, a lot of people contact me with different requests. I'm having this situation. Can you connect me? Most likely when you're stuck in something, it's not about just saying, well, what will be my next idea? No, it's about if you're stuck, then what is the next step to make things happen? Because sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's lack of knowledge, and lack of knowledge will bring fear and anxiety. So we need to identify what is keeping you stuck. Is it that the strategy that you thought it was going to work is no longer working? Then you got to pivot. You got to change. You got to change the strategy. And perhaps this is not working, but let's move forward with other plans, other talents, other products, other services. Let's make it happen. Even the big corporation, even the C corporations, they pivot all the time. I always give the example, and this is a non-pay advertising for CocaCola. CocaCola is the perfect example of pivot. They have all the money in the world. They have a product that is known in the entire planet, in the entire planet. And yet they have to create new flavors. They merge with they bought from other companies. They even created their own water product line. Water.
That's true. Yes.
Water.
You're right about that.
What does it tell you? And then you go to Disney World, you go to Disney Spring, and you see Coca-Cola store. What tells you that even the big guys that have all the money in the planet, they pivot and they change strategies and they say, you know what? It's time to move and do a little bit more. And you know what? Instead of growing up, let's go to the sides and then we'll go up. Learn from the big companies. They have the entire money to invest and create new companies, but they do changes. And it's difficult for them because it costs them millions and millions and millions of dollars to pivot, but they still do, and they take the risk. But when you know your product, your talents, what is it that you're going to do? That's why people ask, why should I do a business plan? A business plan is not to comply with somebody else to give you money. It's for you to use it as the guidance of your business. What if this doesn't work? Well, what I will do. And if this doesn't work, what else? And if this doesn't work, what else? So you got to have a real good strategy that identify what if. If you cannot answer that and you think your product is unique, then you're in trouble right there and then. If you tell yourself, oh, nobody has my product, nobody do arepas like I do, nobody do the best arroz con pollo like I do, nobody do this better than me, then right there and then you're in trouble.
Yeah,
you are totally in trouble. Once you hit the floor, once you get outside with your product, competition will rise like this.
That's true.
And
That
you
is
got to
so
prepare
true.
yourself for that.
That is so, so true. I love what you said in regards to, I think it's important to evaluate when you do get stuck, what is the root cause of what's causing you? Is it that the lack of knowledge or being a novice, fear of the unknown, or fear of failure?
And something very important that I didn't mention, sometimes people get stuck because they don't have the money.
That's true.
And that's a one that has nothing to do with your knowledge, talent, or production. It says, oh wow, I have no money to push this project forward. So where do I go to find more money, and how can I repay it? So that's right there another way how you or your business can get stuck. And it's the reality of the entrepreneur world. The entrepreneurs are in a position of loneliness. I learned this recently, and I started thinking about it. And it's true. Entrepreneurs is a lonely career. When you start working towards your goal in your business, please be advised, unless you're CocaCola. But if you're acumen strategist or whatever the name is your company, it will be a lonely road, because it's all about you and making things happen. It's all about you because it is your idea. It is your heart. You know it better than anybody.
Right.
And the tendency to be a lonely road, it is. At the end of the day, you have the plan in your hands to implement. Nobody else will do it for you.
And that is true in the sense of you have to be determined, because sometimes you may not have a cheerleader. You may not have someone else to say, hey, you have to be the one, really saying, you know what, this is something that it's true to my heart. I want to do this. I believe in this. And you just, what is it, put your boots right, and tighten up and say, I'm going to move forward.
Yes.
And never ever give up. Never
Absolutely.
give up. And honestly, of course, the story that comes to mind is Kentucky Fried Chicken. That how many times he failed, quote unquote, and yet, there is KFC,
Yes.
And even Abraham Lincoln, who would have thought, he was defeated over and over and over again, but yet he became one of an influential leader.
Let me give you a recent example that I admire very much. This lady, oh my God, I forgot her name, but I know everybody's going to Google her. Her restaurant was called Sweetie Pies, and she used to be in Oprah Winfrey show, as a reality show, by the way. Wow. It was a reality show. It was called Sweetie Pies. She used to be the back singer for Tina Turner.
Oh, wow.
And she started her own business of food, of course, comfort food, Southern food, at age 56. And she ended up opening, she was in her 80s when she was opening like her fourth restaurant.
Wow.
It was huge. It was massive. What she was doing. When I saw that show and I saw her energy, because when they did the reality show, she was in her 70 something. I was impressed by her. At the age of 56, the food industry, whoa, it's super competitive. It's super difficult. It's super stressful. And she did it. And I say, you know what? If she could do it, I can't do it. I have the knowledge. I can do it. So I wanted to give you that example for people to understand that it's never too late.
Never.
Do what you want to do, but please have a plan.
Yes.
A plan with the perfect question. What if? You need to have an answer for each one of your what if. What if this? What if that? And prepare your finances. Don't depend on, I'm going to make $100,000 this year. And because my product, I know it will. Okay. So if you know it will, why took you so long? And if you know it will, why haven't you started before? So gotta be realistic.
You're right. You have to have those questions, and I think you've touched in many different, and it is about the mindset. It's resetting the mindset. It's just like, yes, okay, you want to achieve this, but this is the reality. This is what you're needing to do in order for you to go and understand the process. Exactly. And it's interesting because I know personally, you and I have had the opportunity to work with Prospera, which is a nonprofit organization, because of course, there are some organizations, and it's finding out, and you have to be a detective. You really, truly have to be a detective. And it's, what I think as entrepreneurs, one of the things that I love about being that spirit of entrepreneurs, so it's like, if I don't have the answer, I'm going to find out who does.
Yes. You have to do it.
We have to do Google.
I'm happy you mentioned that. I'm happy you mentioned that.
We have Google. So, you've had the opportunity to even go and go training. So there is great opportunities. There's grants, there's scholarships, especially if you're a minority, and we're double minority because we're Hispanic, we're women.
Yes.
And also too, not saying, but we're a little bit more mature in age. So even that is a plus. So even those,
but it's the reality.
But it's the reality. But you know what? You maximize in the benefits that there is, and we now have those things, and it's researching. It's being, like I said, a detective, and it's saying, you know what? We're gonna pivot because we continually pivot. That's why I said repivot, because we are continually, shifting. Change our mindset. It says, okay. And sometimes we get stuck because we do the same thing over and over again, thinking that we're going to have different results. And that's insanity. That is the definition of insanity.
No way.
We can't. And what worked 5 months ago may not work now. A year ago, it's not going to work now. So
the reason why is technology. Technology is now evolving. Within 5 years, you see a whole new ball game. And the economy is changing constantly. New ideas are coming, new applications, which is technology, of course, new ways of doing business. And you gotta be avant-garde. You gotta be up to date with everything that's happening. So I'm glad that you mentioned about the education, because once I started my business, actually, I took a course, not to prepare myself. I'm supposed to be prepared to start, but to continue growing as a professional. So you can stop learning. And yes, I did my minority certification and got trainings, and I continue doing a lot of trainings, getting expertise in the different platforms that I use and what I offer to my clients. So definitely people need to continue educating themselves while they're are an entrepreneur. That can't stop.
Now, last, because I value your time, and believe me, we could be talking hours. I love our conversations. But what would you say? What would be the last advice you would give somebody? They're wanting to start their business. They have a plan, they have all these things, but what has really helped you to really move forward? That has been kind of like your foundation, your
I anchor. Shut the voices. I shut the voices. There's going to be always someone, even somebody that you love, especially people that you love, they will say, you don't have it.
Yeah.
You can't make it.
Mm.
The difference now in my time versus a younger age, as a younger age, I was immature, of course, and I wanted so many things. I was not sure how to put them together.
Mm-hmm.
I come to this new season in my life where I know what I want. I know how can I do it. And I met and answer all my if. And you know what? I'm moving forward. I still, not only leading the Hispanic Chamber, but my business, I still have voices saying, oh, but you know, oh, you can't, oh, you shouldn't. I know what to do and I am moving forward. The part of the education is what going to shut those voices down, because the education, the development within yourself, it's what's going to help you to sustain your business, to sustain your mentality, your mindset, when those voices from friends, family, neighbors, other businesses, competitors will come to criticize. Be prepared. Be prepared to shut the voices and act.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, one thing when you said about education, that's one thing that I know in my heart, and then I've heard this before, that's something that no one can take away from you.
Yes.
What you acquire internally, intellectually,
nobody can take it away.
Nobody can take it away. The truth that you know, you stand firm in that truth. And so thank you so much for
Thank
giving
you.
those words of wisdom. Please comment of what what had really impacted you the most in this conversation, because really and honestly we're talking about our experiences, but at the end of what we're wanting, the end result is we want you to achieve everything that the plan and the purpose that God divinely wants for your life, and we want to see that be a reality. And so that's why we're doing this, because we care about not just only our future, but we care for others, and then that we have more people coming in the journey of to enrich their life, to live life more abundantly. And that's what the word of God says. So, thank you. Hugs and kisses. And I know we're going to have an opportunity, because we want to do this in Spanish as well. So for our Spanish speaking family, nuestra familia, we'll have it too. So thank you. And thank you for being part of the 5-day Repivot challenge.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, you have a wonderful evening. From the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for being with us today. Thanks also to Diane Cortes for providing her life experience in an open and candid way.